Hi everyone, this is the first video to help you prepare for the Term 3 exam. Okay, I am Ms. Zahra and we are going to go through the structures and functions of plants. As you can see in this section, we will have 7 questions. Okay, so that's like 35 marks. 3 of those questions are writing questions. And 4 of the questions are multiple choice. And as you can see, they have told us that on 2 pages, they will give you a question about a picture. Okay, so let's start with page 10. On page 10, you will get one multiple choice question about something on this page. So let's review the main points from page 10. Okay, so we're going to look at what does a plant need? Okay, so what do plants need to survive? All plants need air, and air is made of oxygen, which we write as O2 sometimes, and carbon dioxide. We write carbon dioxide as CO2. So you may see that in some of our review questions. So all living things need air to survive, and plants need both oxygen and carbon dioxide. They also need sunlight, water, nutrients, and space. Okay, from the things that they use carbon dioxide, sunlight, and water to make food. The food they make is sugar. So plants make food using carbon dioxide, sunlight, and water. Okay, over here we can see how do the plants get the things they need. So we're going to look at the air and the sunlight. So let's talk about the air first. We just said there are 2 things inside of the air, 2 gases that the plant needs. The plant needs oxygen, and it uses the oxygen to break the food that it has made. And this gives the plant energy. It uses the carbon dioxide to make the food. Where does the air go in and out of the plant? Well, in our leaf, and the underside of the leaf are tiny openings. These tiny openings or pores, sometimes we call them openings, and the p, sometimes we call them pores. These tiny openings have a name. Their name is stomata. Kind of looks like the word tomato with the s in front. So the stomata are the tiny openings that the gases go in and out. Okay, so now let's talk about sunlight. The plant uses the sunlight to make food. Some plants need a lot of sun, like this big plant over here, the palm tree, and some plants need less sun. If a plant needs less sun, it can grow, you can see here in a forest, in a very shady area. If it needs a lot of sun, you will see it usually grows out in the sunlight, like we have the palm trees here in the UAE. Okay, so now let's look at some questions you may get. We already discussed our 5 basic plant needs. How does gas move in and out of the plant? In the tiny openings in the stomata. What gases do plants use and what do they do with it? They use two gases, we spoke about them, our carbon dioxide to make food and our oxygen to break food. Plants use sunlight to make food like sugar, and the part of the plant that gathers the most sunlight is the leaves. Okay, this plant, the palm, needs a lot of sun, and the moss needs less sun so it can grow in a shady place. Okay, I hope you understood everything on page 10. Now let's move on to page 12. On this page, you will get a writing question. So this page requires you to write. So please learn the spelling of our words. Stems, leaves, roots. We should also know the functions of these three parts. So our stems, maybe you may be asked what is the function of the root? You might be asked what is the function of the leaves or what is the function of the stem. A good way to remember what the stem does, think of S for support. If you cannot spell this because it is a writing question, look for an easier way to write it. So the stem holds up the plant. That is its job, its function. What does the leaves do? The leaves make food for the plant. What do the roots do? The roots take in water. This is something easy to write. Please learn the spelling and how to write them. Okay, so again, our stem supports, or we can use the word holds up the plant. The leaves make food. And our roots take in water. Please learn our spelling and the function of each of the parts. Okay, now let's look at plant reproduction. The word means again and again, and production means to make something. So, how plants make new plants again and again. That's what plant reproduction is about. So, what parts of the plant help them to make new plants? The flowers, the cones, the seeds, and the fruit. Okay, from these two pages, you are going to get two multiple choice questions where you choose, and you will get one writing question from page 14. Okay, so let's look at some examples of questions you may get from page 14. Remember, 14 will have two questions. One is a writing, one is a choosing question. So, one of the questions may be, what parts of the plant are involved in reproduction? We named them: the flowers, cones, seeds, and fruit. You may also be asked about the flower. Okay, so let's look at our flower again. Try and look at a bigger picture of our flower. Okay, so over here on our flower, Our flower has these things over here. You will see that it's like a long thread, and on the top it has this thing like a little flat piece. Okay, so our flower has male and female parts. The male part are these. There's so many of them all around the middle. So the male part makes pollen. The male parts are the anther, the stamen. These make pollen. The female part makes an egg in an animal and a plant. Where does it make an egg? Over here in the ovary. When the pollen and the egg come together, we get a seed. The seed will then be protected by the fruit. So this ovary grows bigger and turns into a fruit. Okay, so let's look at some of those questions again. The male and female part. The male is the stamen, and it has an anther that makes pollen. The female is the ovary. The pistil is that long tube before the ovary that the pollen goes down to find the seed to make the egg. And if a seed is made without, that means no flower, it uses cones. So seeds form in a cone and in a flower the same way. The pollen and the egg join in the ovary, and we call it fertilization. Pollen can move because of insects, birds, or the wind. Okay, the seed. Now let's talk about our seed. This is on page 15. They can give you on page 15 a question about two pictures. So there will be the picture and then there will be a choosing question. So, what are things they can ask you about our seed? They could ask you the parts of the seed. They could ask you which part is the food source. They could ask you which part will grow into a new plant. And they can ask you which part protects the seed. You need to learn those key words. So, let's look at how we can remember them. Okay, and remember the job of the fruit is to protect the seed as well. And animals help scatter the seeds. Okay, I'm just going to take out the ink from this page. Okay, so from the page 15, sorry, they may ask you one of these two pictures. Why do plants need animals? They needed to scatter their seeds. The other question they may ask you is about our seed itself. The outside of the seed, it kind of looks like something you wear on your body, a coat, like a jacket. This protects the seed, keeps it safe. In the middle, this section here, all of this is the biggest section. We call it the cotyledon. The cotyledon gives food to the seed. It's all the food that is stored so that this little baby plant, this baby plant can get its food from there for a while until it is big enough to grow roots and get it from the soil. So the embryo is the baby plant. It will grow into a new plant. The cotyledon is the food source and the seed coat protects the seed. This picture shows us the cone. Remember, these cones and flowers both make the seed. They both make seeds, but only a flower makes a fruit. Cones do not make fruit. On page 16 and 17, you will get one multiple choice question from 16, one writing question from 17. So let's look at page 16 and summarize what we know about adaptations. An adaptation is a physical trait or behavior that helps an organism survive. So, if it helps something to survive, we call it adaptation. An adaptation can be physical on the body of the plant. So, physical means on the body of the plant. A structure like the stem of the cactus, the roots of the orchid, its drip tip leaves. These are physical adaptations. The other kind of adaptation we get is behavioral. Okay, so for the multiple choice question, they may ask you about the cactus or any kind of plant that lives in the desert, and it's what it has on its body that helps it to live there. Some plants have very deep roots. The cactus has thick stems to store water. The orchid, this plant here, has aerial roots to absorb nutrients and special drip tip leaves to help it so the water falls off. It doesn't keep too much water on it. Hey, the cactus has shallow roots and thick stems. Some plants also have these spikes on them called thorns. Do you see how we have the word horn? A horn is the pointy thing on an animal's body. A thorn is the pointy thing on a tree's body. Some animals also have poison. A poison is something that can make you sick if you eat it. Now let's talk about the plant's behavior, how the plant acts. Okay, so we're going to look at the words on this page. The first word is the word stimulus. A stimulus is a change that happens around the organism. So something that changes around something living, we call it a stimulus. When something changes, we usually act a certain way. And the way we act is called a response. So stimulus makes us act a certain way. We call it react. And when we react, this is our response. A plant's response to stimulus is given a name. That name is tropism. So a plant's response is called a tropism. So our plant's response has a name, tropism. Remember that this question is a writing question, so please make sure you know the spelling of these words. Also, make sure you practice the answer for question 1 and question 2 on this page. Okay, so let's look at some examples of some tropisms. You see how all of these words end in the word tropism. Okay? This tropism, remember, is the plant's response. So the plant is acting, sorry, I spelled this word wrong. The plant is acting a certain way. So let's look at how the plant is acting and what the stimulus is, what is making it act that way. So the first word, photo. Photo means light. Think about when you take a photo. Can you take a photo in the dark? No. So photo means light. Phototropism is when our plant grows to the light. So our plant will grow towards the light. The stimulus is the light. The response of the plant, it grows to the light. Gravitropism, I'm sure you can guess this word, is about gravity. Plants grow toward or away from gravity. That means up and down. If I dropped a plant on its side, it would not keep growing straight. It would bend and go up. And its roots would try to go down. This is because of gravity. The stimulus, gravity. The plant's response to grow up or down according to gravity. Then we have the word hydrotropism. Hydro means water. Maybe you've heard somebody say, stay hydrated. That means drink water, right? Hydro means water. So our plant likes to look for water. The roots will grow to find water. So this picture is showing us how the root is wiggling all the way around to find the ground to go down into the water. So hydrotropism is when a plant has a response to water. It looks for water. Sometimes they grow to the water, and some plants don't like water and they will try to go away. Okay, thigmotropism, T for touch. They like to hold things and grow. They will touch and cling onto something and grow that way. So these are our 4 types of plant response to the different stimulus. So remember, the stimulus is the change. So what changed around the plant? Did the light change, the water, the gravity, or did something start to touch or stop touching the plant? When this changes, the plant will respond. This is called tropism. And the 4 tropisms are photo, grows to light; gravitropism, grows down or up to gravity; hydrotropism, grows to water; thigmotropism, touches something to grow. Okay, here are just some examples of questions that you may get, just to see, check your understanding. Okay, thank you so much for listening, and I hope this video helps you learn and understand more about plant structures and their functions. Please try the quizzes practice after this video. Thank you.